The Toronto Maple Leafs goaltending situation has changed, and it's interesting, and it looks to be value efficient. We'll get to that in a second, but I just want to say this is brought to you by 888 Canada. Their YouTube page, you should check it out. Steve, Jesse, trivia. Steve losing at trivia, laughing at Steve, getting a pie to the face, Steve. It's all there.
Steve performed better than I thought in the non-hockey stuff. Like,
yeah,
you did
what
okay in
stuff?
like
Tell
the
me about
Blue
that.
Jays and the Raptors and the Toronto Sports Trivia. You did all right.
All right.
There
Yeah.
was one where my answer was said with a question mark, and I got it. I did hold the championship belt more than once.
Yes.
But it might not be with the categories that you think.
So let's talk about Anthony Stolarz, Joseph Woll, and Matt Murray.
We got the trio in Toronto.
That's right. Now, you talked a little bit about this on the Steve Dangle channel, but Joseph Woll, his extension is 3 years, $3.66 million per year. I mean, we talked a little bit about it on the show as well, but this is a bet, right, guys?
It is. And like you really buried the lead there, Adam, because you mentioned 3 goalies. The Leafs have this trio of goalies, and they are averaging 1 Stanley Cup each. Matt Murray has 2. Anthony Stolarz has 1.
Right.
Joseph Woll will bring that average up even more next year, is the hope.
That's the hope.
So Joseph Woll, that situation there, he's still going to make under $800,000 this season. He's making the Logan Thompson contract, $766,667. I have it committed to memory. It's a really, really good deal. The bet going forward is just that, a bet. The Leafs have put themselves in a position where they have to make these bets, is my opinion. If they wait the year and Joseph Woll is as good as he can be, in my opinion, there's no way after a solid season, if he's a top 15 starter in the NHL, there's no way they're going to be able to sign him for under like $4.5 million. So this contract is what the last one was for Joseph Woll, a bet. He signed a 3-year deal that didn't give him very much money, but it gave him a better chance of playing in the NHL. 3 years, $766,000, whatever.
And that will be his cap hit this year.
Yes. Now he's doing it again. He's probably, if things go well, he's leaving money on the table, and that's fine. Stolarz, 2 years, 2.5. I'm not gonna lie, I'm surprised. Like, there are not many goalies available on the free agent market. The conversation for weeks now has been Brossois, Stolarz, and then like who else? Cam Talbot. And then beyond that, it's a pretty sharp drop off.
Yeah, that's like it.
Yeah, like Casey DeSmith is like probably in your top 5.
Yeah, he went to Dallas already. And,
it's a sharp drop off, right? So Stolarz, more than 1 year, under $3 million, I think is a pretty decent little bit of business. And Matt Murray is fascinating to me. I'm not quite sure how to feel yet.
Well, we'll get to him in a second. Let's talk about Stolarz here for a sec, because we started with Woll. I want to talk about that. Anthony Stolarz was ignored for a few years while he was with the Ducks because the Ducks were really bad. This is a guy that's...
And with the Flyers.
Yeah, and with the Flyers before that. But like, we're talking about 6-7 games that he played with each season with the Flyers. So I'm not counting that. There was also a 6-game stint with Edmonton in there. Not counting that either.
I don't remember at all.
Exactly. Yeah. So the Ducks... the previous 3 years before the Florida Panthers year, this is a guy that put up really, really good numbers. I'm looking at .926 save percentage in 8 games, .917 in 28 games, and then, .899 with the absolutely atrocious 22-23 depressing Dallas Eakins Ducks. They were terrible.
Dude, click on that team. This is what goalies did better.
I can't click on the team because it's NHL.com. But I'll tell you this. The Florida Panthers last year is where it really was his coming out party. He started 24 games, .925 save percentage, .203 goals against average. How many
16,
games?
7-2, I think was his record.
Yes, 16-72. How many games, guys, can we reasonably expect this player who has never started more than 24?
Yeah, he hasn't played a ton of games in a season in his NHL career.
I'm sure he's dying to.
Yeah, I mean, he's a former second-round pick. You go back and look throughout his pro career, like in the minors, he has played more than this. I think in a perfect world, he plays in the neighborhood of 35. And then whatever's left is for Joseph Woll, and hopefully he doesn't get injured.
I think it's even less. Like, I feel like in and around where he has been for us throughout his career is where you're going to find him this season, because they're going to give Matt Murray a shot. Matt Murray's going to have a chance here to play some games. I think.
So you think healthy?
Yes.
Healthy.
That's the asterisk on the whole Matt Murray conversation.
So you think Woll healthy, Stolarz healthy, Murray still plays games?
I think that you find Matt Murray 10 games ish to see what you have. Whether that's a trade trip, whether that's, hey, we got an actual decent backup goalie. Matt Murray's regrouping and finding his lane. Why do you sign him? You don't sign him just to be the Marlies goaltender. You sign him because you want to see, like, hey, we might have found some free magic beans for under $900,000. I think he gets in, even if it's 5 to 10, that'll bring down it's 27 to 30 for Stolarz, and then the rest can be Joseph Woll's.
I think Matt Murray's a couple things, and this is why the signing makes sense. It makes sense to have a guy like him. We can have a debate as to whether or not it should be him specifically. Right. But most teams around this league need 3 these days. Guys keep getting hurt. Vancouver went to Game 7 against the Oilers, which watching them go through Dallas and then almost make the comeback against Florida, how the hell did they pull that off? They had their 3rd goalie. Like, imagine the Leafs forcing a 7-game series against Edmonton with Matt Murray as their starter.
Right.
That's basically what the Vancouver Canucks did.
The amount of injuries the Leafs have had to their goalies the last few years, you're going to need 3 goaltenders. They're probably going to need more than 3, if we're being perfectly honest. Matt Murray's going to get into games here.
Stolarz and Woll could easily hit career highs for games played, and Murray could still play like a dozen games.
That's where I'm sitting right now. We're going to see another shot at Matt Murray.
But it's also protection from the other side, because could Hildeby play games for you? I don't know, maybe. Akhtimov, no, you probably don't want to do that. It's his first season in North America. So basically, Murray is a stopgap between... basically he's a guy who can give you NHL games if he has to, and he's also protecting the development of your young goaltenders, because if Hildeby is having a great season, you don't want to call him up, have him get shelled, send him back down, and then he's never able to recover.
And we saw this play out last year. The Leafs ran Martin Jones into the ground because they refused to play any of those young kids. Remember, he was sitting on the bench.
Yep.
and Martin Jones was in his 12th game in a row, and they're like, "No, we're gonna keep playing Martin Jones."
And we were talking about it like Dennis Hildeby is going to be making his debut tonight, and he didn't do it.
No. So that's what Matt Murray's there for. He's protection, and I feel like just consistently we see it come up. They need that protection, and he's going to get into some games here. And I'm just curious to see if he still has it.
The question will be, can he make it through waivers inevitably in the fall? And
so I don't know the answer to this yet. Does he have the same bonus structure?
No confirmation one way or the other. But if I were the Leafs, I would make his salary as low as I possibly could, maybe $100,000, and then be like, here's a $600,000 bonus the day of waivers.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what the Leafs did last year. They timed it so that it was Jones last year was due $100,000, I think, bonus.
Yeah. And teams just didn't want to pay
it. The day after putting him on waivers. And it was a strategic deterrent to be like, you do not want to spend $100,000 on your 3rd goalie, you bunch of bums. I don't know if they need to put the same protection on Murray, because here's the difference. Martin Jones signed a contract as a 3rd goalie, was coming off of 27 wins with Seattle. Matt Murray, I don't think played a professional hockey game before March last year. He ended up playing a handful with the Marlies. I know he won at least one of them. These are not the same situation. So if a team takes Matt Murray off waivers, I think they're just being a dick.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't see, he seems to be less of a, I mean, this is coming off a pretty major injury, right? So I feel like I think there would be a lot. I would laugh at the team that would do that, because you're just being a jerk at that point. I will say this: Matt Murray grew up a Leafs fan.
Yep.
And
who didn't?
Talked about him and his dad and how important being a Leaf was to him. For a roster that has been accused from time to time of not having enough of the passion that the fans have.
What?
The passion that a guy like Max Domi grew up here, gets it.
Passion.
And of course Matt Murray grew up here, gets it. Mitch Marner grew up here, gets it. People accuse him of not having enough passion. I think you're wrong on that. That guy's got passion.
You're not allowed to bring up that name.
Coming out of his ears. It's my first mention of Mitch Marner all free agency day, by the way. It's important to have guys that get this market and want to play in this market because it is a unique market. It's not the real NHL.
No.
So passionate,
Thanks,
he won't
Sheldon.
wave. That's how much passion he's got.
All right, so enjoy your Matt Murray, your Anthony Stolarz, and your Joseph Woll. Those are your three. It's your three-headed monster.
Oh, Joey, Tony, and Matt. Hey.
You gotta close it out, Adam, with something else. Maddie, don't end it. Adam hasn't closed out the video.
No,
Close it!
I thought he had the good line.
Oh,
but
Joey,
you have
Tony,
to-
and Matt.
You
Hey.
have to tell people what this was brought to you by.
It's brought to you by 888.
Joey, Tony, and Matt. Oh, by
888 Canada.
888 Canada. Got it.
That was their second name.